morning. Good morning, Dora and Dave and Deb. All the people with D's in their names are here today. And Barbara. Saturday morning. So if you were here earlier in the week, you heard about our skunk adventure. So we're trapping and we caught a cat. Yeah, it happens. But it's not a cat we've seen before. So it's a good way to get to know the neighborhood stray cats. Of course, we let them go. But hopefully they get spooked and won't come back looking for more stuff. We'll see. Hi, Carrie. So the skunk is elusive and wily, apparently. We'll have to keep trying. At least as long as the smell lingers in my house, I will keep trying. And then we'll probably forget about it again until the next time. That's what usually happens. So we'll give it a couple minutes. Well, actually, we are kind of past time. So we'll just get started. So just sitting comfortably and breathing. And we're on the last Niyama, which is called Ishvara Pranidhana. Another long one, right? So Ishvara is another name for kind of this universal consciousness. And Pranidhana is surrender, or to sort of turn over to. So it's this idea of surrendering to this higher power. So for us and for our purposes, we're kind of doing this like when we are meditating and we are getting in touch with that spirit. It's a form of sort of merging and surrendering to that higher consciousness. So we kind of work with that during meditation. And that's, maybe when you experience it the most, that sensation of kind of being part of this larger thing. But it's another way of sort of looking at it is to think of it as sort of our ultimate goal is to become part and one with this, to forget. I shouldn't say forget. To look past the separation, right? So we're here in our separate bodies, but we're all part of this one thing. But we get caught up in the separateness and the bodies and our individual natures and individual things. We forget about the whole, right? And this act of becoming and surrendering to that whole reminds us of that. It brings us back to that. So we kind of, I think about it like touching your toe into the pool. So obviously we don't really, sort of physically become part of that until, we are no longer in this body. But meditation and things like that allow us to kind of get a little taste of that, that bliss and that peace. We don't stay there, we come right back, but we can kind of take some refuge there, get some rest. Um, so and the other so that's kind of the physical aspect of it. But the other aspect of it is getting our sort of head in the right space. So as a yogi, our goal is to be working in alignment with this Ishvara. Um, and to do this, we have to give up, right? Our, I don't want to say give up. I'm having trouble kind of verbalizing this today. But the idea is that it's not all about you. It's about everybody and everything. Um, your successes and your failures are not yours alone. Right? If you are living what we would consider a virtuous life, if you are trying to stay on the path as a yogi, you can thank Ishvara for that, and you can also blame Ishvara for that. Right? Um, you're not alone. Um, and people frequently, like, they don't have any trouble taking credit for things that they do right. But when things go wrong, all they want to do is blame other people. Or, oh, it was just fate. It was just the way it was. There's nothing I could do. Well, I mean, and that's, may be true. But let's also then acknowledge that in what we consider our successes, right? We aren't succeeding on our own. We are guided and aided by everything around us. Um, the universe is moving to help us achieve our goals. And when our goals are good goals, right? When we are on that path, I think about that like the path is like it's like a river, right? So when you get in the river, you're in the current. The current is helping you. Now you have to keep swimming, right? You can't just like, you might sink if you just stop. But you've got to acknowledge that there are other things that are moving you along. Um, just as, there might be something happen that would change things that is out of your control, so are some of the good things that happen out of your control. So I guess the best way to think about it is that it's not all about you. You are one part of a huge uh, pattern, a huge interconnected um, world and universe. And um, take credit for your actions, but understand that you are not alone. You did not achieve those things solely on your own. And if you are having trouble, you're not struggling on your own either. Um, there are other things at work. So um, this one is a little this one is kind of hard for me to explain, but I think, if you think about it, if you are having trouble understanding this, if you meditate on this and think about it, I think you'll get that you'll get where I'm going with this. We've all had moments where we felt this. I think it would be unusual if you haven't. You may not feel it all the time. Again, this separation is very strong, and most of us, especially, I mean, I think in our culture, we're very individualistic. We succeed and fail on our own. I mean, it's all about personal responsibility, personal, all of this, and there's some definitely some value to that, but um, we make a mistake when we believe that's all there is to it. So, um, I don't know. It's more of a feeling, I think, than anything else. And it's a way of um, helping you kind of take the next step in things. If you're not sure what to do, think about your place, right, in the scheme of things. See if you can get some help, some advice from the universe. Be open to the guidance that you may get. Um, it could be very direct, you know. Sometimes, if you decide you want to do something and you'll all of a sudden something will happen, right? You'll be like, well, I'd really like to do this, but I don't have, the money to do it. I don't have the time, whatever. Something will happen that changes that. Um, notice when that happens. Don't think always that all of these things are unrelated. Sometimes they are, but sometimes there is kind of a symmetry. Um, so that's when we see those things, it helps us. It can help us kind of frame where we're going. And I like it because it helps me to know that I'm maybe on the right track. I'm not just out in the woods somewhere, cutting down branches with the machete all on my own. Um, there's a path over there. I just haven't maybe found it yet, but I'm getting there. Um, so Ishvara, Pranidhana. Um, it's a big word. It's a big idea. But it's actually one of my favorite of the Niyamas. So I hope that I explained it in a way that is not too perplexing. But again, you can find all this stuff online. Sometimes it's helpful to read a couple different explanations of things to kind of get your take on it. All right. So asana now. Sitting up tall, shoulders relaxed. One more breath. And then chin down toward the chest. Moving around. Big circle with the head. One direction and then the other. Back to center. Lean forward, move around. One way and then the other. Back up. Arms wide, breath in, exhale, hands together. Inhale wide, exhale. Inhale, arms wide, and exhale. Interlace the fingers, lift the hands, gaze up, and then arms down by the side. Inhale, lift, and lower, lift, and lower. Let's lift the shoulders, roll back. And forward. Right hand on left knee, left arm behind, sit up tall, take a twist. Back to center and switch sides. And back to center. Tabletop. Sitting back on the heels. And then back up, tabletop to downward dog. Walking out the legs a little bit. And then walk the feet up to the hands. And let's be in a fold for a few breaths. And rising slowly up. Standing tall in your mountain, breath in and out. Inhale, lift the arms high. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. On the exhale, we're stepping back with the right. Drop the knee, arms overhead. Hands down to the mat, moving back. Downward dog. Inhale, high plank. Let's hold here. And then lower down. Inhale, lifting up, head and chest. And lower. Inhale, lift. Lower. Once more, either head and chest, or we could do upward dog. Moving to downward dog. One more breath. And then we're stepping right foot up. Drop the knee on the left, arms overhead. And then hands down to the mat. Back foot steps up, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift the arms. Back to mountain. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, left foot steps back. Drop the knee, arms overhead. Hands to the mat. Stepping back, downward dog. Inhale, high plank. Hold here. And then lower down. Inhale, lifting head and chest. Lower. Inhale, lift. And lower. Last one, lifting head and chest or upward dog. Moving back to downward dog. On your next inhale, we're going to inhale. And on the next exhale, we're stepping up with the left foot. Drop the knee on the right, arms overhead. And then hands down to the mat. Step the back foot up and fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift high. Back to mountain. Take a breath. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step back with the left. Press down with both feet, arms lift. Warrior one. Let's bring the hands behind your back. Interlace the fingers, draw the shoulders together. Deep breath. And then we're going to fold over that right leg. Hands could stay at the waist or you could lift them up. Bowing warrior. And then let's move back up. Arms overhead. And coming into warrior two. Right arm extends, left arm behind, shoulders relaxed. Next inhale, straighten the right knee. Lift that right arm, left arm by your side. And then we're lowering the right arm down by the leg. Left arm lifts for triangle. Coming back up. Hands by your side. Turn the foot. So we're facing side of the mat. You can bring hands to the waist. Take a deep breath. Shoulders back. And then just folding forward. Hands can come down onto the legs, onto the floor. Leaning in here. So the weight is in the front part of the feet. Heels feel kind of light. And then we're going to bring hands to the waist again. Engage the thighs. Lift the body using that leg strength. Take a breath. And then we're going to turn. So we're facing the front. Right leg is out, left leg behind. Let's work on some version here. We could interlace the fingers. You could do prayer hands. You could do upside down prayer hands. Wrists, walk the hands up, whatever you like. Just bringing the shoulders back. Deep breath. Hold forward. And breathe. And make your way back up. Back foot steps to the front. Release the hands. Lift high overhead. And then back to mountain. Take a breath. Inhale, lifting the arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. On the exhale, right foot steps back. Press down with both feet. We're lifting up. Warrior one. Hands down. We're going to interlace the fingers behind the back. Draw the shoulders together. And then leaning forward. Bowing warrior. And then hands back to the waist if they were up. We're rising. Back up, arms overhead. And then moving, warrior two. Relax the shoulders. Breathe. Next inhale, we're straightening the left knee. Stretch. And then lowering the left arm. Right arm is lifting. Triangle. Back up. And hands by your side. Turn your foot. Facing the side of the mat again. This time, let's have hands at the waist, and then we're bringing the hands back, pulling the shoulders together. Take a breath, and then lean forward. So we're going to get those elbows together in the back. Well, sort of together. And breathe. Come on back up. Release the hands. Let's bring them up overhead. Interlace the fingers, slip the palms. Reach up, gaze up. And then hands by your side. So let's turn this time. Left foot is out in front. Hands behind, whatever you did for the last one. We'll do it again. Deep breath. Fold forward. And then rising up, back foot steps to the front, arms overhead, and back to mountain. Take a breath. So balance then. Tree to start. We're on our left foot, bringing the right foot in. Kickstand. Calf. Maybe above the calf. Whatever you want to do. Knee is rotated out to the side. Nice and upright. Shoulders relaxed. Steady gaze. Keeping everything to center unless you feel, really steady here. And then you might extend the arms. But that's sort of the last thing. Finding that center to the pose. And then let's switch. So, standing on the right, wherever you've got the balance on this side, nice and upright, shoulders relaxed. Breathing. And then set the foot back down, bicycle out the legs. So let's do our little foot exercises today, because why not, right? So we're going to start with coming up on the toes. Okay, so we're just lifting up the heels. So feet are about hip width apart, not super close. You want to have a little room here. So you could just lift the heels. Maybe that's where you are today. If you want, you could come higher, right? We're up on the balls of the feet maybe. You can kind of alternate. You could try this for a bit and then come down a little lower. And you can always touch down and then come back up again. Just working on that foot flexibility and foot strength. Okay, so that's the one. Then we're going to kind of roll the feet out so you're on the edges of the feet. If you have any trouble with your ankles, ankle instability, be careful with this. Don't go too far, because I don't want you to turn your ankle doing this. But just roll up. Again, so we're balancing on that outer part of the foot instead of the flat part of the foot. Okay, foot down, and then we're going to do the same sort of thing, except with the inner part of the foot. We're lifting the outer edges. Right? This one's harder, right? It feels more awkward. So if you can try to press the big toe and the ball of the foot in. Just do the best that you can with the rest of the foot lifted. Probably won't get much beyond the midfoot, right? But we're trying to get the toes up. That's great. Kind of the mid part of the foot. And you might want to step out a little further for this. Might make it easier. Let's see. And then set the foot down. So there's 4 of these, right? So we did the one lifting the heels, then we're lifting the inner part of the foot, then we're lifting the outer part of the foot, and then we're going to lift up the front part of the foot. So we're on the heels. So you can stay here. It's hard, right? I find it hard to stay put. So it's okay if you want to step around, move around a little bit. So, this is just like fun stuff you can do whenever you feel like it. Just working on that foot strength, foot flexibility. And then just set it back down. And we're going to lift up the right knee. And while you're here, let's just rotate the foot around. Going one way and then the other. It's like chewing gum and walking. Put your foot down and let's switch. Got left knee up and moving around. Okay, back down, bicycle out the legs. All right, and let's come on back, top of the mat. Arms overhead, deep breath in, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, stepping back, downward dog. Coming forward on your inhale. Let's hold here. And lower down. Head turns to the right. Arms by your side. Breathe. Head back to center. Let's bring the arms out in front. We're going to cross one forearm over the other. And set the head down. So the forehead is kind of resting on the arms. And we're going to have the forehead stuck to the arms, lifting up head, chest, arms, and legs, everything. And lower down. Head turns left. Relax. Head back to center. Let's keep the hands by the side. Just rest the palms on the mat. On an inhale, we're lifting up head and chest, arms and legs. and lower down. Let's keep the head to center. We'll have one hand on top of the other. Set the chin or the forehead down. Take a few breaths, toes in, heels out. And then beginning to move back up. Tabletop and child's pose. And then tabletop, moving to downward dog. Coming back to a seat. We'll have soles of the feet together, sitting up tall. Take a deep breath. And then we're leaning forward. Think about hinging from the hips, but keeping a nice flat back. So shoulders stay back, leading with the chest. Back up. Let's do cow face. So left leg is underneath. So you get the knee pointing out, foot is back, crossing over. So we've got a hold of each foot here. We're going to fold forward. Back up and switch. Take a breath and fold. Back up. Both legs out in front. Deep breath in, fold forward. Coming back up, bend the knees. Soles of the feet to the mat. We're going to lower down or rock back. Get yourself comfortable on the mat. And then we're going to bring the right ankle, top of the left knee. Staying here if that's a lot on that right hip, or if you've got more room, you can bring that left thigh in towards the chest. Breathe. And then Setting both feet down, we'll switch. And whatever you did on the one side, we will do on the other. And then set both feet down. Getting ready for bridge. We've got heels back, close to the body, hands by your side. Pressing down, hands and feet. We're lifting up the hips. Then lowering down. Soles of the feet together, knees apart. Take a few breaths. Let's bring the knees together. Walk the feet to the outer edges of the mat. Arms to a T or goalpost arms. We're going to start lowering both knees over to the right. Back to center and moving to the left. Back to center. Hug the knees into the chest. Rock a little bit. Maybe do some circles with the knees. One direction and then the other. Extend the legs straight up. And then however you want to bring them down. We'll end up resting on our mat. Finding a comfortable place for Shavasana. Keep your focus on the breath, sensations in the body, feeling that steadiness and calm. And as we are breathing, we are kind of moving into that twilight space. So we have worked the body a bit. um, Keeping focused, is some activity for the mind. So we're ready, to take a little break here, to relax. Keeping everything focused on this place, this space. Notice sensations in the body. So this idea of Ishvara Pranidhana, ultimately our goal, right, as a yogi moving towards enlightenment, towards that uh, release of self, we are going to be operating in this space where we are, um, everything we do is meant not for us, it's for the good of everyone and everything. That doesn't mean that we won't do things, that benefit us, of course, but our overarching um, umbrella, right? Just like ahimsa, we have that umbrella over the yamas and niyamas. Ishvara Pranidhana is our overreaching framework for how we interact with the world. Um, when we keep that in mind, that we are part of a whole, we are part of this bigger consciousness, it makes a lot of your choices easy. Um, you can't do things that are unkind or cruel. You can't do things that are selfish, or completely self-interested. You can't manipulate people or use them. Um, it really does, really does make things simple. It doesn't mean it makes things easy. Um, all of those shortcuts that we may have in our, bag of tricks, um, a lot of those aren't going to work anymore. You're going to have to find some new ways to do things. Um, the good news is, right, when we are acting in a selfish and self-interested way, we are like uh, cutting a path, through the woods with a machete. It's hard, right? We work very hard at that. Um, it takes a lot of effort. It usually has bad consequences, right? Things boomerang back on you. Um, it's like lying, right? When you lie a lot, it becomes a huge effort just to keep track of your lies. Who did I tell what to? I mean, it's actually more work than if you just told the truth in the first place. So instead of working so hard to do things that you think will benefit you, you could move over a few feet to this path that you find in the woods, and you could follow that path. And you're going to get where you're going a lot faster with less trouble, certainly less effort on your part. And you're not destroying everything around you. You are on a path. You aren't hacking into everyone you see, trying to get past them or around them or over top of them. Um, so there's definite benefit. I mean, there's certainly benefit for everyone in the world if we could all treat each other this way. But personally, there's good reason to do this. It's not just, oh, well, everyone else is going to be better off, but I'm not. You will. We all will. So it's definitely a different idea, something that we may be very unfamiliar with in our upbringing or our culture, but it's worth giving some thought to and seeing how you can kind of integrate this into your life. When you're ready, fingers and toes, hands and feet, moving around, and then making your way up to a seat. You can bring hands together, breath in and out. Thank you for taking some time this morning for yoga, sharing it with me here. I hope you have a great Saturday and a very enjoyable weekend. Namaste. Thank you for coming to class. That's it for today. I won't be here tomorrow, but I'll be here Monday, and we'll probably do a recap of just a quick recap of the Niyamas to kind of get that through. And then probably next week, I'll also talk a little bit about how we could sort of use these in the course of a day, right? You don't have to think about all of them every single day, but you may have, take a little time every day to consider some of them. All right. Well, that's all I got. You're welcome. Namaste, Carrie. Yeah, so enjoy the weather. It's cooler today. Feels cooler here. So hopefully we'll have a nice weekend.